Music, a Raiders mock draft that I could not wait to do because this one I'm doing it with. In mind, John Spytek and Pete Carroll here on the Raiders report. The silver and black have 10 total picks, and I ran this mock draft simulator on PFF. If anybody out there wants to send me their own mock draft, you can always hit me up on IG and Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. As it stands right now, Raiders have in total 10 draft picks, and that number 6 pick overall is the one that's going to get a lot of attention. I know it's the one that I gave a lot of attention to, considering the fact of, well, I was hoping that the Raiders would have a chance at number 1, the first 5 picks in this mock draft, where Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, Abdul Carter, and then Mason Graham is off the board, so I could have gone with somebody like an Ashton Genty. I could have gone with somebody like a Will Johnson. I could go a bunch of different direction, and I have been somebody that has stood up here, and I have said I want the Raiders to go best player available, and there's different options that you could go for. That reason, I had what Pete Carroll would do in mind, what John Spic would do in mind, and I think if this was the situation, they would end up going here with Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan, 6'2", 200 pounds. You go back and you look at some of those great Legion of Boom defenses and Richard Sherman, and it's a different style of player, but the Raiders clearly have a need at corner, and you pair Johnson with somebody like Jacory and Bennett. It's going to really help out that back end now. Again, I'm hoping the Raiders bring back somebody like an Adam Butler bolster that defensive line because it's going to make Johnson much better. Let's go to the second round here of my Raiders mock draft, presented by Game Time second round. I was looking for offensive line, and I was really pleasantly surprised the fact that I was able to go out and get Wyatt Milum, 6'6", 31'7" LB behemoth from West Virginia. There are some people that have him as a tackle. There are other people that I talk to that have him as a guard. I'm going to be real with you. I've talked about my Beckon in passing, where I said, if it was up to me, I would have put my Beckon right from the jump at guard because he was just so big. That's kind of my thought process here with Mbow. Yes, he looked good at West Virginia over the past 3 seasons. It's got better and better. However, though, when I look at this Raiders offensive line, I want JPJ to be the center. If you keep Colt Miller at left tackle, you put Wyatt Milum at left guard, JPJ at center, Dylan Palm at right guard, DJ Glaze at right tackle, for a team that wants to be able to establish the running game, take care of the football win in the trenches. Wyatt Milum at left guard next to JPJ at center, next to Colton Miller at left, tackles one of the best left sides of an offensive line you could possibly ask for. Let's go to round 3 now. Obviously, at this point, I have still yet to take a quarterback, and I'm going to be real in this mock draft. I would hope at this point, if the Raiders don't have a QB selected, that they ended up signing somebody like a Russell Wilson, a Sam Darnold. Maybe you got a Geno Smith. Maybe you got Justin Fields. But you do need some form of a bridge quarterback, one of the running backs that's been jumping up boards, TreVeyon Henderson, and one of the guys that I respect the most in the industry, by the name of Dan Bugler, has him as his number 36 overall prospect. The fact that that's that high of a prospect grade for Bugler, I do respect that a lot. Henderson is of a back, could be an every down back here for the silver and black, and another position that, let's face it, we got a lot of needs, so I love the fact that I was able to go out and get defense. Wyatt Milum, TreVeyon Henderson, right off the jump here, and now it's to the pick where the Raiders got to figure out a way to maybe get the most out of the dude, because this is the pick that we ended up getting for the Davante Adams trade, and I decided to go best player available here yet again, where this one could create a little bit of controversy, because I like Marcus, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but when I watched his tape, if you want an offensive lineman and you want to go with a run-heavy scheme, Marcus Mbow, or BA. I think the MS silent is somebody that you're going to fall in love with. He is a really good athlete. And I know the Raiders already have DJ Glaze to me. I'm just going to try to create a little bit of competition. 2 third-round picks, kind of different regimes battling it out. I also am a believer that Glaze could be an offensive guard, and if worst-case scenario, Glaze is your 6th offensive lineman. It's not a bad thing to have a little bit more depth. Also because, Dylan Parham's kind of getting down his contract, where I don't know if he's going to end up coming back in the 2026 offseason, so 2 offensive linemen will Milum to